I'm following your lead. Let's hum.
Yes.
Hello,
The
all.
song, the song from Mary Martin's Peter Pan came to my mind. I got a crow. Er.
Hey, all. It's Eliana in LA and Lauren in Paris coming to you live in the morning. And there may be many of you in different Zoom rooms with even the same link. I have no idea. We've been roaming around in techno, God bless, techno virtual reality. So, uh, for some reason, I wasn't able to get in, or we were both in different rooms and other people wrote. So I don't really know what's going on technologically, but no worries. I thought what we would do for this session is I will answer the questions that I said I'm going to answer about the Israel journey. And actually, I'm going to answer the questions first about if you're curious what water and feminine leadership and ancient Israel have to do with one another. You'll get the answer here and now. And then it's really cool that Lauren is here because Lauren is going to be coming back. She's returning on the Israel journey. And so that's a really great opportunity for you to hear from someone in the know who's experienced this. And, we'll answer questions, and I bet Lauren has some interesting experience to share that may be helpful to you if you're considering if the program speaks to you. And we're calling in very particular women. So, we may meditate on that, and we'll see what happens in this short video. And let's go. So the first thing is, what does water and feminine leadership and ancient Israel and healing sound have to do with one another? Well, you don't have to go to ancient Israel, and ancient Israel is ancient, right? But it still exists today. Yet there is an ancient tradition and technology that was practiced in the Near East of pre-biblical times. And when I'm talking about pre-biblical times, we're talking about from tens and thousands of years till, till technology. We just heard the beeps. Um, up until, just a few thousand years ago, but for much of human history. And buildings were built for and by sound. And if we remember the essence of all matter is vibratory, it becomes very, very clear what the power of that is. Because in ancient times, we had much more sophistication and knowledge about the use and the power and the conscious power of sound. Leaders would go to temples regularly to reduce stress and gain clarity. And temples in those days, it's hard for us to imagine because we don't have that in our modern days. Consider a temple a mix between a spa and a hospital and a university and a yoga center and a community center, and a church all together. And they would avail themselves of special applications of sound, wordless sound, and rhythm that would balance both hemispheres of the brain and increase focus, and then allow them to have more clarity and make better decisions. And this is how we lived then. And it is coming back now. That's the whole purpose of Voices of Eden being alive. It's a resurgence and a living experiment of creating Eden on earth, one authentic voice at a time, by experimenting and walking this talk over a 30-year period. And 20 years ago, 18 years ago, we did a medical research project to test this out. Because how do you prove something that's more than 5,000 years old before we even wrote things down? And what does that have to do with sound? What does that have to do with feminine leadership? Well, it's the feminine leadership aspect is by listening within, listening to the voice that's beyond that cognitive place, and then meeting it and having a container by which what is not cognitive can then be spoken. That's been the path I've been walking for 30 years. And so that 20 years ago was the first test of being able to enunciate this and bring it to test. And what we found is that the conscious use of voice and rhythm bypasses the intellect. It's a brain power, brain clarity, increases focus, quality of sleep, lowers blood pressure, reduces stress. In neonates, the medical staff worked more effectively. The parents were a lot more relaxed. Now, what's important to me about that, it's very powerful stuff. And what is most important to me about that has to do with you is that I'm not a medical doctor, and this has never been done before. And it was just something within, I wasn't thinking about going to a hospital. It was like, the point was trusting what that inner guidance was guiding, even though it didn't make logical sense, but having the guts to trust it and act upon it. That led to that and allowed for that. And I'm very proud to say that research has become the benchmark in healing sound therapy. There are 15 other researches that are based upon that. I'm very, very proud of that. I'm very proud that the ancient feminine leadership way is allowed to come back from that faith, and that is what I'm doing here on this earth, to support others who have, and wise women in particular. Because over the years, as I've walked this walk and have been teaching and sharing, and other people have been using these tools, I really am experiencing from others in their use of this how potent, like, you know how monkey mind, you gain clarity for something and you go, no, I can't, or you start something and you leave it in the middle. But when I see other people, it quiets my mind. It goes, oh, sure, it's just you. It's just because you're the crazy one who walks this walk. No. So what does this have to do with water? Well, our research was in a neonatal intensive care unit. And what is so cool about being able to research on a neonate is that a premature baby is born, is in physical existence on Earth, yet developmentally, that neonate is still in the ubal in Hebrew, we say. What do you call a baby in utero? A fetus, still in fetal. And that's water. We grow in water. We come into this world through water. Is that amazing? Now, in order for us to hear, when we're communicating, this is cognitive communication. When we're communicating, you are hearing this through airwaves, through a conduit. Sound needs a conduit to be heard, and that's through airwaves right now. But a fetus hears in utero, and water is the conduit. Water is 4 times as powerful as air is. You could go over to my private Facebook page. I just jumped in the water about 45 minutes ago and hummed in the water. It's so powerful. That's how I got clarity what to do here. You can use your voice in water and you'll discover amazing things. This is part of what we're going to be doing in Israel when we go in October. And what does that have to do with ancient Israel and leadership? The prophetess Miriam, her name means from the waters, from the bitter waters. Bitter waters, not meaning negative, meaning like the dark waters, meaning like womb space. I could go on forever, ever. I don't want to. That's enough for right now. If you want to know more, please go to the blog on the website. There's plenty of stuff there. Please go to the YouTube channel. There are more than 300 videos there. Or go check out the Israel, the Voice of Feminine Power journey, because you'll really be able to experience that. And I want to introduce you to Lauren right now, because part of the reason that we can be going deeper, like this is going to be the third cohort of Voice Your Feminine Power. And in this last cohort, we gave a live healing music meditation in a Jerusalem monastery that had been a dream, vision, for years, and I could never get that monastery available because they book. It's not a hotel. We stay in places that are sustainable. They're people living in solution, and this is not a tour. Everything has quite intentionally been set up through feminine leadership, and the itinerary and structure was set up initially through the last cohort, through the 2016 cohort, and this next one will be set up through the cohort here, starting today too, because we're going to take you off of mute, Lauren, or you want to take yourself off of mute?
Yeah.
So instead of me answering questions, if you don't mind, maybe I'll ask you the questions that people have asked in the past. And I think it would be more valuable for somebody who's gone, who may have had those questions to begin with. And would that be okay?
Yeah. I have a few minutes, yeah.
So, how safe is it to travel to Israel? How safe did you feel?
Oh, I didn't feel any problem whatsoever with walking down the street, traffic, transportation. Everything seemed to go very well, and I didn't have any glitches whatsoever when I was traveling throughout Israel.
Some people go, Israel, is it safe? Am I going to get killed?
I know.
No, they do. Or the people around.
The plane landed and there were no problems. There were no problems in the airport. There were no problems on the bus. Everything was fine.
That's first part of feminine leadership. It's like, well, you hear things and
yes,
those things don't exist. They exist everywhere in the world, but it's a particular story that's being sold. And this retreat is so that you have the opportunity to experience something different. Second question: if you have a affinity to sound, to music, singer, and you don't have to have any experience in singing. This is not a singing performance thing. So let me say that up front. But if you like sound or singing, how might this retreat help? How did it help you deepen your skills?
That's a very good question. Okay, I would say that it helped me relax about singing and what it's all about. I'm interested in healing aspect of sound, so this encouraged me to focus on that and to continue learning about it.
And thank you. You can see the group I posted on the Facebook page. And if you're watching from the newsletter, I believe I sent it out in the last newsletter. You can see Lauren singing along with the other women. And those women, they never met before. They met
right.
a few days before, and a few of them had never sung one note in their life, let alone be in front of public. Remember, Ayumi was like, oh, what? And listen to those voices. You will experience. Yeah. Don't listen to us. Listen to that and see for yourself. It's pretty amazing what conscious use of your voice can do and how it can heal you. What's different about this live retreat is it's not a tour. And it is very much leading from feminine power. And what is different about this cohort is that, well, it's not a tour, so those who participate will have worked with me beforehand. After leading many private immersions and groups in Israel, both with people I had worked with before and then those who I had not, who were just interested in it. After this last cohort was so powerful, because the cohort before was so powerful, and I decided that going further, that it was very important for us to do work together prior to going to Israel, that I will no longer just have people come on. So if you're interested, you're going to go through a lead with your own feminine power. And it's one of the bonuses. And I'm interested, Lauren, and maybe this will be the last question for right now.
All right.
That what are you learning? What did you learn? So what did you experience in Israel? Why are you coming back? And what is it about leading? How are you leading with your feminine power? And how is this impacting the choices that you're making and how you are showing up?
That's a complex. So I'm very interested in learning about feminine leadership and understanding how it works. And I've experienced that in the first retreat that I participated in, and learned a great deal from the book that you wrote. But also, there's something about the ancientness of this land that calls me. It's a mystery. I don't understand it completely, but it's calling me to go back. And the experience was very beautiful when I was there. So I anticipate another beautiful experience, a very deep one too.
Yeah, so that's that feminine power, right? That, you know,
yes,
that's a really great example of when I'm referring to your feminine leadership and your feminine power. It's that part that Lauren just spoke of. It's like, well, there is the course Lead with Your Feminine Power is based on the book Miriam's Secret, Revealing the Ancient Wisdom of Feminine Leadership. The living of it is our exploring together. Each one of us is a piece of the puzzle. And so she expresses really clearly, I don't know what, but there's something deep drawing me, so I'm following that.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling that, know that you're in the right place. Like, trust that. It doesn't make sense because it's another paradigm, and it will never make sense. And if you wait for other people to acknowledge, or the conditions, you're going to wait until kingdom come. It ain't going to happen. And it really is the opportunity for you, if you're so moved, is to empower yourself, to say yes to yourself. Because what happens is when you do, a door opens, and that's when you gain the clarity on the other side of the door. You won't have it beforehand.
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah. It's not a cognitive thing either, right? But I like to think of it as chasing the mystery.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, chasing the mystery. Yeah, and then grounding it in, right? Well, it is.
Mm.
It's chasing the mystery, and then you ground it in, and then you know where you are. Or uh, look at the video from Elisa, excuse me, not Lissa, Elisa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, she described it so, she said her experience was, it was so subtle that she really didn't even know it was happening. And then you get to this feeling, well, your shell is too small. And then you kind of break, then there's this point where you break out of your shell, and that part's painful, but you've got support and you've got this gentleness around you. And then you step out of that shell, and this, here's where the leadership and the sound and the place come together that serve as a container to support you in that shift. And then the result is that you find yourself anew who you've always been, expanded within an expanded container to grow into.
Mm.
I thought that was so beautiful. How she
That
explained
is amazing. Yeah,
it.
that's
I've
beautiful.
never been able to explain it. So
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
beautiful way of putting it. Yes. Well, I'm
So
gonna have to go.
yeah, and me too. So if you have questions, reach out, and we will be there. And we're open to calling in juicy women ready to say yes to themselves, ready to feel at ease being who you are and chasing the mystery. Bye.
Bye bye.